right, I think we're on and we're live. So I'd like to welcome everybody to the City of Westminster Historic District Commission this evening. It's Wednesday, April 3rd at 7 o'clock, and we're at City on Emerald Lane. I usually like to start out with our statement of authority. The Westminster Historic District Commission derives its authority from Chapter 164, Article 9A of the City Code, which is authorized by the Maryland Code Annotated Land Use Article Division 1, Single Jurisdiction Planning and Zoning, Title 8, Historic Preservation. The qualifications of the Westminster Historic District Commission are on file at the City Administration Building at 45 West Main Street. The file is open to the public. I usually like to start with a quick roll call. So let's start down here with this lady in green. Catherine Beatty. Chris Amadori. And your vice chair. Krista McMaster's chair.
Grace Ann Kelly Lawler.
Kevin Wagman.
Melissa Thorne, City of Westminster.
Thank you, and members of the public are here tonight. I also want to just say a quick word of welcome. We have a new commissioner with us tonight, Kathy Beatty's taking up our vacant space, and I'd really like to welcome her here this evening as her first volunteering session with the city. So thank you very much, Kathy, for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So let's start tonight with old business, and we'll start with item A, 30 Carroll Street demolition recommendation. Did the commission have any questions? There's been resubmitted paper, which I have to say is much improved. My improved paperwork that was sent through. Melissa, do you have anything you'd like to inform the commission?
I guess for the record, for another meeting, just to state for any public who might be watching, this agenda item for 30 Carroll Street is based on a demolition permit that was submitted to Carroll County, received by the city on, when did I write that down? On March 15th, 2024. This item has been up since January and February, and now we're back in March. We received an updated structural report that the commission was sent out over a week ago. And they're working through their site plan requirements. And depending on, the next process, they would be subject to a special exception use requiring the Board of Zoning Appeal review and approval. So tonight we're really looking for not a staff recommendation, a Historic District Commission recommendation from you all on what the process for the demolition permit, if that's seen as favorable, and provide a recommendation to city staff.
Would the applicants like to say anything?
Just, Melissa, you said the demo permit was received on March the 15th.
Yes.
Was applied for on February the 23rd.
Demolition permit was submitted for this project on February 23rd. For some reason, we didn't receive it until March 15th. That does seem like a stretch, doesn't it?
Yes.
I have two sentences in here. Now I'm not sure. Well, they applied for it on February 23rd.
Yes.
So that's the fact.
It's less than a mile from the county office building.
It's quite,
involved, so
and as the crow flies, it might be even,
they send it by turtle.
maybe so. It does happen on occasion, but I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Apologize.
Yeah, we'll just have it, I guess you've had an opportunity to look at the new report.
We absolutely have. We really needed 2 weeks to take a good look at everything, to see that, our requests for further information were filled in. We see a timeline, we see good work on deed information, we see a much better understanding of how that building fits into the historic district. So I will thank you for that extra work. We needed that. And I don't hear any questions from the commission. So that tells me we are ready for a vote. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the plan as written.
Okay, Kevin, can I ask a question? Clarify your motion. Is it you accept their request for a demolition permit or do you accept the
I
plan?
think their request form is sufficient for us to acknowledge the way. Is that better?
Melissa, why don't you help us with the exact wording that'll make sure our city clerk is happy with how we put things.
I'll do my best. We can already see where it started with this, with the dates. We'll see how we do. So, Kevin, your motion was to accept the plan as written, to accept the structural report. To state that it was okay for the record, sufficient. Do you, so that seems like an okay motion on the table. I would like another motion if, depending on how this one goes, to also weigh in on the demolition permit. Basically, so a motion to accept approval of the demolition to move forward, or would make a motion to process or have the city approve the demolition of 30 of the address, or disprove, and then if you could state the reason why, if there's a reason why. So staff receives it. We're one of the review entities of Carroll County as a part of this process. So our zoning administrator and department gets to sign off, you know, on certain things so that they can proceed with the demolition. So Mark's looking for a recommendation from you all from the historic perspective, if based on the review of the structural report. So maybe the motion could include that as well. Whether you recommend that the structure is demolished or not, essentially.
So
if you want to accept.
as simple as possible, asking the commission to approve or disapprove the demolition
recommend.
request.
It's a recommendation,
Okay,
yes.
so we ask the commission to recommend or not recommend the demolition of this structure.
Correct.
All right, so Kevin, is that what you were asking? I can't put a motion in your mouth.
I was trying to make it simple. It's up to me, within request, so within means within. But you can add anything you all want to.
Okay, Melissa, could you read back what we think Kevin's recommending or making a motion to?
Okay.
This one.
Is there a motion on the table to accept the structural report documentation as submitted?
All right, is there a second for that?
I'll second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
I,
Okay, is there another motion on the table to make a recommendation in favor of the demolition request submitted on February 23rd, 2024 by Shepherd staff for the demolition of 30 Carroll Street?
Is there a second to that?
Then there's discussion held, and then usually you can make another motion. Okay,
Is there someone who wants to own this motion?
But may I make a comment?
absolutely.
Yes.
My understanding of the commission's power in the case of demolition requests is that a historic structure report is required of any property that's submitted for demolition. And once that report is accepted, then the demolition permit, there shouldn't be any restrictions on that.
So what I understand is that you're right about the property documentation has to be adequate.
Right.
And then the city looks for our recommendation. But the city has a whole host of its own issues.
So certainly.
So all we are is one commission that can make a recommendation. And we're at the point where we have sufficient documentation. The question is, do we want to make a recommendation to the city?
And I thought that acceptance of the structure report was tantamount to that recommendation. That was my understanding of how that ordinance was approved. That's when I was on the commission.
Do you think that's efficient, Melissa?
I will defer to Mark and the lawyers, honestly, just because I don't know it that well, but I have a copy of it here in your packets. There is a copy of it, code 56-5, demolitions within Westminster Historic District.
That should answer the question.
Should answer it. So our zoning administrator is looking for a recommendation on his approval or disapproval of it. And as powers that be in that lies with what he understands it to be. So again, tonight, it's really a recommendation. It's not a final action on his point. That makes any sense,
It is a recommendation.
but it isn't.
So the question is, does this commission want to make that recommendation that the zoning official is requesting?
I can only speak on me, but a lot, I weigh in on what the city advises us. So I'm waiting for the city to comment, is everything in line or not? Because I kind of looked at things, but like the city lawyer has all the knowledge, and I'm waiting for you all to advise me on what is the recommendation. And then I can filter what I perceive. But I don't know. Is that not what we usually do?
Okay, I'm feeling like we're a little bit in an impasse because we have the documentation submitted. I could go on and on and on about doorknobs and window things, but it's sufficient. It is at a point of sufficiency. And we have accepted that. Now, the question to me is whether or not we want to make a recommendation to the city. I don't see that they're here by our recommendation one way or another. I may be wrong, but I don't see that recommendation as being crucial along the path. The question is, does the commission want to make a recommendation? Hearing none, then to me, our business is concluded and we have no more requests of you for our portion of the consideration. It advances, as far as I understand, onto the city zoning staff.
Yeah, so we'll communicate that with Mark and tomorrow in the office, and we'll follow up with you all, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank you all. Thanks. I know we're not easy or maybe fun.
Well, I tell you, Chairman, some of the directions that we were given are really obsolete, okay? I spent a couple of days. You know, the Historical Society didn't even know what the Weeks book looked like. I'm very serious. I went to the library where finally I did find the Weeks book down there. There's nothing been on file. There hasn't been a Maryland room at the library for 15 years. Patsy Hahn is a good friend of mine. She's been the librarian for 37 years. And it was somewhat of a wild goose chase on all this. It just kind of evolved from here. But luckily, I was able to put some things together that I think tie together with Jim's report and turned out to be a good report. So.
Well, I was surprised about the Maryland room. I had been told that it had been put in the back during some sort of reconstruction, which was happening there years just before COVID. There are other records there that are supposed to be there with the genealogical society that I have no idea, and they have no idea where they went.
The
So-
only thing I could find that they may be in the inaccurate library. Okay. They may be,
The Weeks book is actually on our website as a tab. You
yes.
pick it up digitally. So you don't
I
have to.
finally figured that out, yes.
Yeah,
Well, and I'm surprised that they couldn't help you, because I know there are several copies of Chris on the shelves in the Historical Society's library, so. Sorry, you
I
got
think the
somebody.
one from Oakland, which I'm very familiar with, too, but because.
No, I know there are several copies of it in the library. Sorry, they couldn't help you with that.
Anyway. I need to stay.
I had one in my life.
thank you very much. All right, on to new business. Item A, architectural review of the elevations of a garage at 99 Ralph Street. Melissa, would you like to introduce this project for us?
Sure, we have two representatives of the property here, the McGee family. On May 10th, 2022, the property owner, Bernadette McGee, submitted an application to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a variance to the required minimum of 30 feet front yard setback required pursuant to the city zoning ordinance article B11, sorry, my Roman numerals are not here right now, 12, R 7500 residential zone, and the dimensional requirements to allow a detached garage to be 9 feet from the property line and a minimum of 8 feet and 6 inches from the street edge. The case number 22-5 was heard before the Zoning Appeals Board on June 21st of 2022. And at this meeting, the Board of Zoning Appeals approved the garage variance. The written decision was signed in July of that year. Fast forward 2 years, on January 17th, 2024, the City of Westminster received a request from Carroll County Building Bureau of Permits and Inspection to review a building permit for 99 Ralph Street for a 2-story detached garage with second floor storage. That's a 40 by 30 foot detached garage. The project was referred by the zoning administrator to the Historic District Commission for elevational review, which is why we're here this evening. Copy of the elevations were emailed, and they're as a part of our package for this evening. The property also contains a single family detached unit, which was built in 2008. The McGees are proposing a 2,400 square foot 2-story garage. The elevations show 30-year architectural shingles, PVC trim board just under the roof line, a gable vent on the front and rear, and vinyl siding either in a horizontal or vertical arrangement. Both arrangements are shown for the Commission's consideration. Proposed are 2 separate carriage house style garage doors on the front facing Winter Street, with the right door slightly longer than the left. An additional wide PVC trim board is proposed at the length of the garage in the center on all sides, with 3-foot eaves on the front and rear elevations. There are access doors on each side of the proposed garage. The doors are 9 lit over 2 raised panels on the rear and both sides. There are 3 double hung windows with shingles proposed on the left side elevation, with 2 double hung windows with shingles proposed on the right side elevation. The front elevation has a twin double hung window with shingles above the garage doors, and the rear has triple double hung windows centered between the eave and the roof line. There are 3 porch lights proposed for the front, and then 1 on each side of the elevation by the access door. I've included pictures of the existing concrete pad. That's pretty similar today. That photo was from several years ago. And then the existing brick home on 99 North Ralph Street from August. So here, we're recommending the Historic District Commission review the elevation plans and for the proposed 2-story detached garage. And like I mentioned, we have the McGee family here tonight with questions about my very detailed report.
So this is the point where we usually ask the applicant family if they have anything they'd like to add as far as what they'd like to tell us above and beyond any of the paperwork submitted.
Not really, I think it's pretty close.
Okay, full transparency, this is my garage. And their new one's gonna make mine look crummy, but other than that, did you think that? No.
I don't have a picture of yours.
It's this one. Little bright. All right, so, no questions from the McGee's. Do the commissioners have any questions? Questions or concerns? Hearing none, can I hear a motion that accepts the proposed structure as offered?
I make a motion that we accept the McGee proposal as offered.
Is there a second? Second. Second from Grace, thank you. Do we have any discussion about this particular proposal? I can tell you, for as long as I've lived there, it was blank. It was really blank. There's nothing there. If there was, it was gone way before me. What was in their lot before their house, like a 1970s rancher that burned down. So it really was, as far as I know, it was historic back there. I think the lot was always part of my property. So.
Well, it looks pretty elaborate, so it looks fit into the neighborhood, sure, so.
All right, well, I probably shouldn't have taken that personal detour, but I'm gonna ask for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
For 1 second, do we talk about different ways for the siding to go?
Oh, we did not discuss that.
Neither, I think we need to talk about that.
All right, so, correct me if I'm incorrect, Kevin, but we have found the siding that's vertical to be inconsistent with historic structures here in Westminster. It's just that the siding you see that is vertical is all kind of new and it's considered trendy right now. And we have told other folks who have looked to us for an application for financial assistance that we would not fund that. So this is not a funding request, but in order to stay consistent, we would recommend against vertical siding. I'm not sure that that would inhibit you tonight, other than if you wanted to ask us for 5% in a tax credit to be of assistance on this building, we could if there was no vertical siding. Consider that. And you can bring that request to our next meeting in a month. I don't think it would be very hard for you to make that request for 5% assistance on new structure.
Yeah, we probably,
Not
I'm
doing it.
kind of anxious just to move.
Get roll.
Okay.
Well, I disagree with your comment. It really is a barn. So barns are vertical, not horizontal.
Well, if I may,
Certainly.
I did a little bit of research of my own, and I think he is correct, like mid-1800s, vertical was quite popular. I think the trendy part comes into it. You see now, the buildings are white, and then they have like black windows, black features, and I think that sort of lends itself to the trendiness of it. But I think maybe like an all-white building that is vertical would probably be pretty close to being in line with the hardware, carriage house style hardware, lanterns of the period. And I think that with regular windows, not the black windows, would sort of remove that trendiness and be more of a timeless kind of look.
I'm familiar with her house, very nice, do a good job, very nice job. I live on East Green Street, I have a Victorian house that has display on the front porch. Before this happened to me 14 years ago, during the summer, I built a second floor on my garage to resemble a barn. And it's vertical. And I was not trying to be trendy by any means, and you're right, black windows to do that But to me, knowing your house and how well you keep things, a protocol makes sense to me. That to me, horizontal makes it look more modern.
Yeah.
And I think because you went to cut and made the whole house brick, not partial brick, it lends itself to be better suited horizontal in my 2 cents. Now, I'm only talking because I was a tech ed teacher, workshop teacher for 31 years. So I have a little bit of, what's the word? Not technology, but styling. I understand styling. And to me, that would be more appropriate. But again, I'm only one person. They all back up whoever they vote.
Well, I appreciate your comment.
We did not have a second. Right, Melissa?
Grace seconded.
You seconded. Oh, so we are on the discussion phase. Okay. So is there, can you read the motion again?
A motion that accepts the proposal as offered.
Is there any more discussion? Any more considerations? Hearing none, then let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I oppose.
Any abstentions? None, because I can't vote. So it has passed according to what you presented. Thank you. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you very much. All right. This is interesting. Next piece of new business we have is on renaming of the.
Thank you all.
road. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next piece of new business is renaming of a portion of Kreider's Church Road. And Melissa, would you like to make a presentation to us?
Sure. Here's a little bit of background. In an effort to address a city staff concern with an impact of traffic associated with a proposed K9 Buddy, which is a business name, event facility at the Kreider's Church Road, Littlestown Pike 97 intersection. I wish I should pull it up. I don't think I have a copy. Does everyone have a copy on the back of the staff report? You can follow along and see this picture. There's a yellow star right at the beginning of Kreider's Church Road. Right there. Okay. Specifically, the left turn onto Kreider's Church Road from Route 97. K9 Buddy representatives have contacted the county to rename the portion of Kreider's Church Road outlined in the red in the images on the back. The thought being that with a different road name in coordination with mapping services, traffic will be redirected to Meadow Branch Road from Route 97 to access K9 Buddy versus turning on the left onto Kreider's Church Road from Route 97. The two names provided by the K9 Buddy reps, which haven't been vetted by staff, it's fresh off the press, if you will, are Oatland Road and Grassland Road. We're not aware of any significance with these road names to the city. We've asked for clarification as to why those names were chosen. In addition, the zoning administrator has made the county and K9 Buddy reps aware of the road name change, and any new road names must be approved by the city or through another process. There are a few properties on the Maryland Inventory of Historic Properties in that area, such as the C. Elmer Fritz Farm, which has a car number associated 398, and the Schwegert Roberts House, which is car 397, and of course the Kreider's Church as well. We're recommending that the Historic District Commission offer a recommendation on using Elmer Fritz Farm or Schwegert Roberts House as part of this reference section of Kreider's Church Road, or propose a newly suggested roadway name. So as you can see, the specific section is not the section that is right off of 97, but it is a portion. Actually, you know what? I do have a Google map I can put up. Let me screen share for the
By
world
the way,
here.
I'm a rep of my canine buddy.
Oh.
I'm the one that started this mess.
Okay.
I'm the one that started this mess. I'm the one that gave it the name. The name has no particular specificity
Okay.
at all. So if you have a suggestion for a name, there's a process and procedure that I have to
This is
send to the county.
This is
Yeah.
fun stuff here. Okay, so here we're gonna broadcast it to the world here. To show this section is right, oh, it's this section.
So I have a question about history, Melissa.
Okay,
I actually go to Christ Church
yes,
myself. And I believe Christ Church Road extended straight out,
this way?
no. The other, that's the way it goes now, but it kept going continually straight ahead till it went to the other side. And they changed it.
You mean from into Meadow Creek essentially?
From here.
You can sort of still see the roadbed, yeah.
Oh, I see.
That's what historically Friar's Church was. Friar's Church Road, Friar's Cemetery Road, whatever people wanna call it. And by making it L up, I always thought that was confusing. So to me, Fritz Farm, being nice and short, would be a better option. Because for the record, for the historical record, that is confusing. To make a 90-degree change. I think it's hard on you if you're trying to do some research and figure out history along that road by having it adopt a whole new name. I mean, it was just a field before. There was no crossroad up to Meadow Branch.
Yes.
It was put in.
Through Mark Depot's site plan review process and the traffic portion of that review, this is where this stimulated, and working with Carl Wilson and the traffic group. One of the suggestions is to change the road name, change it on Google, because when people Google it now, they're going to go down the old road. And so that's how this thing all began. And we're certainly open to any name that road can be. We're trying to get the site plan on through. Now, there's actually 3 lots zoned IR on that stretch of road. The county owns the first lot, excuse me, here, Melissa. The county owns a lot right here on the corner. My canine buddy has a 5-acre lot in the middle. And then this lot just recently went under contract. And we're working on a concept site development plan for there, but Carl at the traffic group, Carl Wilson, he really believes it'll really help alleviate some of the traffic here. And the road name is immaterial to us. We're trying to pass through the comments.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I was really hyper-focused on the airport expansion and the current buffer required. And I always understood the buffer was going to go down almost as far as the arc. Cut off part of the cemetery for Friar's UCC. I'm sort of surprised that you're being allowed to build anything so close to the airport.
Well, we're not in the direct path, but the buffer does sort of like go right around here. The county owns the first lot, which is part of the protection, the buffer area.
So you don't anticipate any issue about being too close to the airport?
We're way beyond that. Yeah.
I shouldn't put my nose in other people's business, but
No, that's fine. That's,
A learning
you know, it's
opportunity
one
here.
real estate. Melissa hasn't been in the history of it like I've been, have you, Melissa?
I haven't, you know this.
all right, so we have the staff report, we have a public person. Would you like to present anything to us to help us understand things any better?
Well, just what it said, where was the Fritz property, Melissa?
I actually can't remember where that one was, and
And what was the other one you said?
the other one was
Where?
Schweigert Roberts' house. You know, I'm going to stop sharing and pull up the Maryland Historical Trust site because we can look.
I don't know if you're aware of the process or not, but once a road name is determined, there's a form you fill out. It goes through, basically the Emergency Operations Center to county, so it has no conflict with other roads.
That's how
It
you-
sound like it. So that's why Meta Branch, you have Meta Branch Road, you have Meta Creek Road. And I was trying to name something related to Meta, oak or grass, so.
You're the brainchild. So we get lots of confusion at Crider's Church. And, because we've had emergency services twice in the last 6 months. And they keep going to the UCC rather than the Lutheran Church. And we've learned we have to send someone down to the corner and intercept them because it's terrible. It's really awful.
Okay, here is. So this one is the Schweigert Roberts house, right down Meadow Creek Drive. Is this one correct?
Does anything exist there, Melissa?
Let's see this
No,
one.
the adjacent farm was the Emmett farm.
Here's the Elmer Fritz farm,
yeah.
this one. That one is quite close. Yeah.
Fritz farm.
That line.
I like Fritz farm. If you go below the Schweigert property between the church and Schweigert property, that was the Emmert farm.
Okay.
But I think Fritz looks actually closer to
I know
the.
the Emirates, but over on Meadow Creek, is there anything there that's inside the? Right there.
This one was the Schweigert Roberts house.
Nothing exists there today, is there?
As far as the mapping goes, it's just new.
The structure's been
development.
removed.
Yeah, it's all just history at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so does the commissioners have any questions that would help them vote?
I like keeping the integrity of the history, Fritz Farm Road, I mean. Unless you're really tied to over.
At all, what I would really suggest if we could, we need 3 options when we return it to the county.
Okay. well,
Okay,
that's
and I
good.
don't have the tax record, I don't have the tax map book in front of me to determine whether
To ensure there's no other Fritz
no
Farm
other
roads
Fritz
in the
roads
county.
or anything that may sound like it, so when 911's called, you know, they end up with Fritz Farm Road and not a Fritz Center Road or something like that.
It sounds like Patney.
So
Yeah.
okay, so I'm not telling any commissioner how we would motion, but we would suggest perhaps Elmer Fritz Farm, Schweigert Roberts house, and the third option being the Emmert farm, 'cause that was there historically.
I would say that 911 is not going to approve the Schweigert.
Yeah, I was thinking that's
They're
why.
probably not going to get that.
It's just too hard to say.
Yeah.
Can really mess
It's
that one up.
Happy Schweigert, what's good?
Oh, I did it on a
What about this one? This little section was the Crider's Church Sexton House.
So it's already right
What about
I'm just-
Sexton House Road?
That's what I was
Sexton
referring
House
to.
Road, yeah, I like that.
Please don't, because people live in the Sexton House on Frider's Church Road.
Got it.
And if you move the name over to the other road, then you're
Oh.
messing up the historic reality.
I even had suggested Emmert, I knew Charles Emmert, but that was not on the group list.
Mm.
Does anyone live on this particular piece of road?
It does not, and there won't be anybody other than 2 businesses in the future will be on there. One a storage warehouse, climate controlled storage warehouse, and then there's 2 ladies who were working on a building my canine buddy that, they're going to have dog shows and dog training center on a very high level,
Wow.
where they hope to attract national shows and that kind of thing, so.
Right, for the community.
Westminster Dog Show.
And it's all about the entrance on 97 and Cryers Church Road, and we're working with the state and city on trying to do something there that even though everybody contends it's a very unsafe condition, there's no record of being unsafe.
Yeah, I really, I only know of one accident,
So, I don't know.
but the problem is there have been proposals to close it off. And if you do that, you're closing off emergency services to a pre-K
Yeah.
daycare center and 2 elderly church congregations. And how many minutes do you want to add on to a choking kid?
Yeah. And what's strange, Meta Creek Drive actually turns and it's recorded on the record plat to this point. So this little piece right here
Is Meadow
is,
Creek Drive?
yes, Meta Creek Drive, so it's really not set up quite right.
All right, well, how about it, commissioners? What can we recommend?
Yeah, I'm happy to take anything.
Short and historical, so whatever, you know.
All right, well, let's have that in a motion.
I recommend that we offer 3 name options that reflect the historical integrity of that area for a road name.
That being,
Fritz Farm Road. What is the other one that you said? Schweigert Roberts House.
Could we just shorten that to Schweigert Road?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or Schweigert House. Schweigert
Well,
House
but
Road.
then you're sort of implying the house is actually still there. I'm assuming that was part of a farm or something.
It says Schweigert Roberts House here, so I don't know what, all right, let's go skip that one. What was the third, what was the other one, the last?
Everett. Charles Everett.
Everett, E-M-M-E-R-T, yeah, well, Everett Farm, Everett Farm Road,
Yeah.
those 2. And you want a third one?
And that's why I'm saying, let's stick with Schweigert
Something
Roberts.
about Emmert. We already tried Emmert. Now forget them. I'm trying to find Laura's from the development reviews email right now. And what she said about it.
Huh. Roberts Road? But there's already a Roberts Road in Carroll County. I'm trying to go with unusual so that they don't have to get rejected. Because there's already a road with that name.
My friend lived on Massacre Road in Williamsburg, you could try, I'm like, this is terrible.
I like their, what was, not Roberts, what was,
Schweigert House,
not that one, yeah,
Oh,
Fritz Farm,
Fritz Farm.
Fritz Farm.
yeah.
Yeah,
that-
like-
that's
I
not
do
basic
too,
house.
but you said you needed 3, so I'm trying to come up with 3.
Yeah.
Or you can use one of mine, I don't care because it'll, you know. Just,
We're trying to focus in on the actual historic side of it. Yours are kind of nice for development somewhere, but if we could go with Elmer Fritz Farm,
I would bother with Elmer, I would just do Fritz, I would keep it short.
Fritz Farm.
So we did Fritz, Schweigert, and Everett as the 3 options.
Okay.
Do I have is that a motion you're standing by?
Yes.
Do you have that correctly down?
Is farm gonna be, I'm sorry, farm,
Almost.
That would attach farm.
Fritz Farm, Schweigert Farm, Everett,
Emmerich Farm.
yeah.
I'll
It's still
second it.
Emmerich, how is Charles Emmerich's name spelled?
E-M-M-E-R-T.
Okay. We had some Emmerichs go to our church. All right, do I have a second?
Yes.
Kevin seconds. All right, so any more discussion? I think having double names will help us with the confusion. Otherwise, I don't want to be bouncing back and forth with Emmerich Oak Farms or something, you know? Which oak were never grown out there. Okay. So are there any questions or concerns? The commission? Before we take this vote?
Let me find this one. Before.
Okay.
I just wondered how people name streets.
Yes,
or
I did too, now I
Oh, it's the hardest thing we do. I mean, you know, working for you as a customer, you know, you want to name after your children or something, but it's not an easy thing to
There's a
do.
lot of Bobby Real type of names out there in the
Yeah.
county. It's just like you assume it's their living.
Jennifer Way.
Yeah.
Where did she say that? They don't like two-word names. That's what I was trying to find for you.
What about just Fritz Road then?
That's probably got another Fritz Road. I mean,
Well, I mean, we can submit it with the farm attached and they're gonna make the
Yes.
final decision.
that's right. We're making a recommendation.
We could do that.
All right, anything else on our recommendation? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And none opposed. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks
Hope
a
it
lot
works
for
well.
hearing me.
Well, you were helpful.
After 40 years, I have two projects. The K-9 Buddy and Shepherd Staff is a personal project of mine. We've been great members of Grace Legion for years and years. When I'm done with them, I'm retired.
So you're never coming back after you've learned everything you've learned, you're never coming back?
Who knows?
Thank
Thank you very much.
you. All righty, so we have put that to bed. Let's move on to Historic District Commission Implementation Plan Strategy 2, Historic District Inventory Project Update. And every once in a while, I do run across things that might be helpful with this inventory, and I think what I was gonna send you, Melissa. When Kathy and I were at the history show, we got a booklet, the old fire hall. And it's a personal mission of mine to figure out exactly where the original fire hall on Church Street was. I can't believe we don't know. To me, that's just such a knowable thing. And we don't.
We have not had much luck pinpointing it.
We don't know that. So I've got that booklet and I wanted to share that with you.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
That's another resource. We have put in a grant application to the part of the Civil War Heritage area. That was due around March 1st. So that was submitted. First cut has happened. I'm sworn to secrecy on it. It needs to go on now to the state, and the state will make a decision about whether or not that request is funded. Other than that, I don't know of anything else. Have you got any updates from the city side?
The RFP is the next process. And the goal is to get it out to send it up the line for review by next month. So that ideally we'll be opening it up in July.
Good.
So we're still on track for that.
Great, great. Good, well, I would say full steam ahead. Okay. Any other pieces to report? All right, the 250th anniversary, we almost had a meeting at Belgrove Square. And I have a meeting on Saturday with the DAR. It would be so nice if I could tell them we had a meeting about where we'd like that sign, so I can push them and Annie. Can we pick a date to go running out to Belgrove Square and see?
Sounds raining, like it was on Saturday.
It was terrible. It was, well, we had storm warnings too.
Yeah, that's.
So it wasn't just a gentle, annoying rain.
Today's the third, right?
Mhm.
Do you want to meet Friday, like at 5 o'clock? I can do that.
This Friday? I can do that.
Or I can meet Saturday after.
If you do it Friday, I can tell them on Saturday morning.
Okay, well then let's do
Let's do
Friday
Friday.
at 5.
5?
Yeah. Well,
Can you make it Kathy?
Yes, what do I do?
All right, so just to catch you up, so the DAR has an opportunity to get a sign from the national DAR that says 250th celebration, da 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 da. And I was proposing that it go in Belgrove Square because the 200th bicentennial and the 100th centennial are both marked in Belgrove Square. It was a centennial park, basically donated to the city on the centennial. So I've gotten the nodding okay-ish from the city, but we have to have an explicit spot on the ground for the city to approve something like that, and I need to provide to them the look of the sign and all that. It's pre-done with the DAR on a national level. You don't get to design or undesign it. It has a price tag with it, and I think I can get a mini grant to cover half of it from the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area. I can get a grant for about $500 from the DAR. That would leave a gap of about $1,000 that either needs to be raised or we could possibly petition the city to give us that part of the match. But all this requires a location and a map to begin. The DAR needs a location and a map for them to make application to their national level. I feel it's imperative that the city agree to a location on Belgrove Square where they would entertain the idea. And it really kind of gets started with us saying where we want to have it. So I thought we would go to Belgrove Square, walk around, look at the 2 centennial monuments that are there. I can share with you what the DAR sign looks like. I've already shared it with the board, or the commission here. So they, in their mind, have a fixed idea of what it looks like. It's one of those ground signs. It looks a lot like the Pomeroy sign in front of
Oh, okay.
Shellman House, just exactly. It's sort of the same initiative, really.
Oh,
The Pomeroy
okay.
Foundation's behind this
Oh,
with the
all right, I
DAR.
know what it looks like.
Yeah. Looks a lot like that, more writing, little deeper, but same idea. So we need to start with a spot on the ground. So that's what time is that on Friday? 5 o'clock, did we say?
5 p.m.
All right, we're all in agreement. Wow.
But I'll be there. Will you pick you up on the way?
Can walk across this.
I'll be driving by his house.
And my calendar, that means it's real. Fabulous. Do we have anything about plaques? Any thoughts for further research?
No, I haven't. I'm still thinking about it, but yeah, I'm working on this.
Okay. Do we have any thoughts with Main Street?
I did send Melissa some information about possible like landscapers that might do like urban areas, so we met about that just this past couple weeks ago. So we met about that and about Main Street, that's about it.
We've had a lot
We
of,
took a tour, we walked around, we made notes, so.
oh, that's good. That's before we're moving.
We do actually have a spring cleanup scheduled downtown. So it all kind of like layer one, start by looking and making the punch list. And I have a date for that. I will share since we're talking about it. It is April 27th from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. If anyone's available, you're welcome to come
8
out.
a.m. to 10?
It is, yes.
Where's it going to be?
Locust Lane. And still developing the punch list for anything else we can do with volunteers. So we have a few weeks, but we'll have trash bags and gloves available at a minimum. So this to me is like step one. We've already talked to the Downtown Business Association about the 250th coming up, so they've heard about it, we're making mention of it. We'll continue to regularly mention it. And we were also talking in our meeting about the possibility of some sort of an incentive program if we can put something together, depending on how budget goes this year. So
I would like to meet with Abby to talk a little bit about a possible parade and what would it take to do that. and other recreational park leveraging that we could do together for the 250th. Do I need to go through you to do that, or can I just call her up and meet?
Would we like to do another work session before a meeting and we can chat again, like at the hour before the meeting and at one point we had talked about a subcommittee
Right.
and the possibility of doing it simply right before our regular scheduled meeting time. Just to see if anyone else is out there to be interested in helping out.
Absolutely, and I was gonna write
And we
that.
can invite her to that.
All right, well, I guess I just wanted something a little more personal,
Okay.
without a huge big committee of people to explain stuff to. I just wanna be educated on what's it take to do a parade.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
how much do we need to think about? I'm afraid if we keep having brainstorming sessions and we just are gonna keep grinding in the same groove, and I'd rather just get something done.
I see. So you could absolutely just call her.
I can
Do
without,
you have her phone number?
I
It's
do,
the, if you reach out, well, I'll send it to you.
all right.
That'll be great.
I'm personally, I just feel I would be a better leader if I understood more of the mechanics of what's necessary.
Are you thinking of us or partnering with like a Lions Club to put that on?
I'm gonna talk with her to find out what's most successful since she manages all the parades in town. I just wanna find out what model works, what we need to do, you know, how are we gonna make this real? And how do the other parades in town make it real? So to me, that's she's got a great expertise in managing events, and I would just like to know what's gonna take and how we're gonna do it. Okay, good. Anything else in the 250th?
One more thing.
Yes.
We had learned from Joe Thompson of Carroll County Public Library that there are Liberty Tree saplings available. So the Liberty Tree was once at St. John's College in Annapolis, Maryland as a tulip poplar. And it has a history that I am learning myself, and it's hard to read in here. I would be happy to send this to you as well. It's where the original historic Liberty Tree was where American revolutionaries advocated for independence from Great Britain during the Stamp Act of 65. They were the gathering spots. So we have ordered 2 with the hope that the city will be able to place one and the Historical Society will be able to place one
So you ordered them,
within the
but
city.
you ordered them, but you don't know where they're gonna go yet?
Correct. So we're kind of, I guess it's the cart before the horse in some ways. But we have a lot of land here in Westminster, so we thought we would be able to find some spot. So think about that also when you're out at Bell Grove. I'm working with Eric Schlitzer, our city arborist, so he's the one who will be caring for the trees, actually driving to pick them up. So he would be able to offer suggestions, but you could also as well.
That would be great, because right now Belgrove Square would be a little unbalanced, you know, it's got 2 corner objects and something sort of in the middle. Maybe the other 2 corners could have something. That is interesting.
How big will the tree get?
I don't know the average, but this one was very tall. It was about 124 feet.
So tulip poplars, if you know them, they're very much looked in a distance a lot like an arborvitae from a distance, but they have actual leaves, they're not an evergreen.
Okay.
And they're considered to be good buffer zones because they hold up in the wind, but they don't have a real long lifetime. Really long lifetime. So they're not like oaks that are there forever. So a tulip poplar is actually very much used in 1930s and 40s landscape prints. Because they have that long look to them.
It's a tulip tree, I put tulip pop. Thank you.
Really? Oh, that's exciting. So let's have open eyes at Belgrove Square. Well, I might see a place there.
I need a tree in my yard.
It's city members.
That was it.
They grow up very long and lean.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Historic District Commissioner comments. So Kathy, this is where I count around the corner and ask our commissioners if they have anything they have done or have anything to add to the discussion. It could be an activity, it could be a different group that's got a project going. Something that would just add interest to the Historic District Commission. If you have anything you'd like to add tonight, feel free to pop it in.
Being new, I don't have a lot, and in terms of the 250th, I know if you're interested in going back for what they did at the bicentennial, a lot of the documents from the bicentennial commission are in the manuscript collection at the Historical Society.
Oh, cool.
There are also vertical files in the library based by district, what each district did during the bicentennial, so you might find some ideas there of activities that were good. I know they had a big parade. I looked at the Times Archive online for July of 1976, and they had a huge parade here in Westminster for the bicentennial.
Thank you. Chris, anything to add?
No, nothing, other than what I've already mentioned, meeting with Melissa out Main Street, so.
I will say for me, for the Westminster Cemetery, we got a grant from Hey Westminster, which is a group of local philanthropist business people. And the Facebook video that put out by Global Productions is on our Facebook for the Westminster Cemetery. And boy, it looks great. It's got some digital like overhead stuff and it's very moving and it's gonna be a very exciting historical project and it comes across, it really does. They did a great job. So look on the Facebook for the historic cemetery. Bryce.
I'm still working on my little project for Irish Town. And I'll actually be in Buckingham Palace next month, so.
So you won't be at our next meeting?
No, I will be on vacation.
She'll be at Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham Palace.
Westminster.
So I'm gonna look a lot, but that's gonna be really interesting. I'm really excited.
Great. Kevin.
I have nothing, so I'm boring.
City staff, do we have anything to add?
I would just like to add that the Westminster Wine Stroll is coming up on April 20th from noon to 4 downtown. And the Flower and Jazz Festival will follow May 11th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Is there a discussion on shifts?
Yeah, guys, we almost always do the.
There's about three shifts we could work up.
Yeah.
With that
And what,
time
with
frame.
10 to 4, you said?
10 to 4, yes.
Is that long? Usually we do 10 to 12, 12 to 2, and 2 to 4, I guess.
I could do 12 to 2.
I can do 10 to 12.
I could do 12 to 2 or 2 to 4.
I won't be able to do it. I get in really late the night with jet lag, sorry.
When we get closer, I can fill in probably where we need somebody.
All right, well, if you give me 12 to 2 and you take 2 to 4, we know we have everything covered. And I like the 12 to 2 shift because I feel like that's the busiest, where I get to talk to the most people. And Melissa always provides all the paperwork for us and usually the map. And I always start my spiel with, do you live here in the historic district? And it's gotten to the point where I know I annoy the city staff because they can hear me. I literally, if you linger in front of our table, I'm gonna grab you for the historic district or a sham wow, either one.
A little bit. Great,
Let's
thank you.
discuss. I like the idea a couple years back, we had artifacts like a doorknob, things like that. So could we talk about acquiring them? And also, could we request to get a couple CDs of which So we passed them out,
Of the week's book?
yeah.
Oh,
Well, we have the right to the CD. I thought at one time we had them.
I'll look and report back, okay? I will try to let you know by Friday. if I
People
can
really
find them.
like those bumper stickers. And
We
the
still have some
pens.
bumper stickers. We have some trees we just ordered.
Oh, good.
There's been
Yeah.
the stress.
They went really fast at the history day thing.
Yes, we have a box of those. Again,
And those
we
little
like to
techie
promote our
things.
tree city.
Those little techie
I don't think we have any of those left.
They went so fast, as
Yeah.
soon as we explained to people what they were, then they wanted them back.
Kevin, could you explain a little more about the artifacts? What, is this something you've done in the past?
Yeah, we would have papers, we went put on top. Like a doorknob, just that paper wouldn't blow away. But one thing could be like an elbow lock, so they know that our elbow lock was the oldest one. I think in a way that opens a dialogue. Oh, what is that?
So, Kevin's thinking way back to when Beth Truscott was working with us on the commission, and Jerry had a whole bunch of door locks. I did bring things like, half moon gutter brackets and, other stuff like that, kind of as paper. And they were a good discussion option, but, I think part of the problem was that, although I have a bunch of that kind of hardware, I'm usually not around to set up and I'm usually not around to close down, and that hardware has to be returned. So why don't you let me look around my house, and I'll try and pull together a box of hardware and get it to Melissa so she can add it to the pile of stuff that comes down there. And then I can retrieve it or not. I don't know. These will be artifacts from my own home.
Wow.
Put your name on the bag. This is my gutter bracket. This belongs to my gutter bracket.
Okay, very good.
All right, so if there's no comments from the public, hearing none, then I declare us adjourned.